Midwest LSA EXPO, what we're calling the biggest little air show west of Oshkosh. We've now looked at every single airplane on the field, and that's more than 40, but that's the exhibitors. There's more than that here, I understand.
Yeah, we're packed. There's been a good day today. All of the transient lot is filled, and then we were over on the south ramp with some of the turbine stuff that come in.
And you've had some come up here that you were trying to park in as an exhibitor, and you said, "Now they already bought them here, and they're just a customer coming back to look now." Huh?
That's something that we just discovered this year. Is some of the exhibitors were late getting here, and there's so many models sold now that I think there's been a couple Tecnams that have come up, and I know the Vector Sports Star was one of them, and Jabiru.
And you're trying to park them here in an exhibitor spot, and they're just saying, "No, I'm just here to see some more."
I'm thinking it's Steve Minich or Pete Crotty, and it's some owner that bought one at previous years.
Well, I'm speaking of that. I've heard some people say they've made some sales right here at this show. That's what this show is kind of about, and I love the fact that I've now observed just today and just in the last hour 4 or 5 people to say, "No, can I go up for another ride right now?" Well, sure. They turn the airplane around, and literally in 2 minutes they're back out on the runway and they're up in the air. You can't do that at any other show that I've been to, even some of the other smaller venue shows like this. That's a special thing, Chris.
Yeah, we're proud of that, and that's the way the facility is laid out and the way we have the rope line set up. It was meant to do that, is to get right out, right there at that point of sale. And I think we're going to try to come out of this with next year's theme as being the intimate air show or something to that effect, that stresses that this is the place to go where you could get up close and personal with the exhibitors and the airplane and get right out to fly.
You know, you've got a pretty good crowd here today, but it's a big enough ramp, and there's enough room, and nobody's got to be in a rush, and they're not tearing around like they do at the big shows because you've got so far to go. But what's really important here is not the number of people that show up. That's always a value, and we all watch that benchmark, but the important thing is how many of them are serious, looking for an airplane, and might actually make a purchase and satisfy their dream of flight, isn't it?
Yes, and we knew it was going to be like that. I had several emails and phone calls 2-3 weeks ahead of the show of, is exhibitor A or B or C going to be there, because I'm looking at those 3 models, and I'm going to make a choice there at that show. So we knew we were going to have that.
Come from Minnesota, we've had people come from Texas, the people from...
Several from Tennessee I talked to,
yeah,
2 or 3
They come all over, even the people from the Sky Baby. We had people from Oklahoma coming here just to see the Sky Baby.
So it's drawn better and better. This is the 4th annual now. People are always congratulatory to you, Chris, as the leader of the event here, and you do a great job of seeing to everyone's needs in many ways. But you've also got a pretty good bunch of folks all wearing the bright orange shirts this year. How many volunteers you tap into, and how is that working for you?
Well, we had 60 shirts, and sadly the employees, only about half the employees have them. So we're probably looking at 45 volunteers that have come, and I'm still owe 10 more shirts to other volunteers.
Is that right? So there it gives you the size of it.
Yeah, it's
even
at least
for what
60.
seems like a small show, you've got to have 50, 60 people, and they all got to be willing to do some work, and they're all doing that as volunteers.
Yes.
That's a really great thing.
Another thing I want to bring out, Dan, is that we had a storm come through here last night, and they had room in all of these hangars for all of the exhibitors.
Well, you know, you said something really interesting, and I want you to do this for me, but last night, yeah, there was a threat of some hail possibly, and we don't want that. It didn't turn out that we had that, I don't believe, but nonetheless, you want to be careful. So some people were scrambling to get airplanes and put away, but you said, well, if we don't have room for them all, how are you going to solve that problem?
Airport north of us, Salem LaCrone Field, has 2 large hangars that worked out a deal with the airport manager, and he was very welcoming to send everybody up there, and then we would send our shuttles up to Salem and pick everybody up. And
you said that's a 20-minute flight or something?
Yeah, 20 miles nautical.
20 miles nautical, yeah, so not even that.
Yeah.
You dash up there,
Right
put your airplane in a hangar, you guys come up there and get them, bring them back. That kind of service. The big shows do a wonderful job in many ways, but they just can't deliver that kind of personal service. They couldn't possibly try.
But we didn't need to, because everybody on this field stepped up. We packed all the exhibitor hall exhibits up along the walls, and I think we had 25 or 28 of the Light Sports in the exhibitor hall hangar. And what was really interesting is we had guys that were out on cross countries in our T hangars that I've made phone calls to, and they said, "Oh yeah, use our hangars."
Ah, is that right? Great.
Yeah. So we had I think all the planes, but about 6 made it inside last night.
Remarkable support here from Chris Collins and his whole team here at the Midwest LSA EXPO. Looking forward to the 5th annual next year.
Yes.
Thanks for talking to us, Chris.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate
and let's do this. Where do we go to get some more information about next year's show? What's happened at this one? What's your web address?
MidwestLSAShow.com.
Excellent. And I've got information about the show as well as next year's dates and this year's dates. All that's available with lots of reviews of airplanes on buydanjohnson.com or bydanjohnson.com.